Hi guys, and welcome to another Divi theme video. This is Jamie from System 22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. We've got another little hover effect for you today. We've got these images here with titles. When we hover over, they're going to morph into circles with a call to action button. And that's a cool little feature to have on your site. That's going to get people's attention. Really easy to do. We're not using any additional coding or plugins to do this today. We're doing it all with the inbuilt features of the Divi theme itself. So let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is enable the visual builder. Once enabled, I'm going to go down to where I want to work. And let's just delete this first one here. I've got a row here with 3 columns in it. And to do this today, I'm going to use a call to action module. And there it is right there. Okay. Well, obviously put in whatever you want your title to say up here. And when we add the button, you can't see a button there at the moment. I'll leave that as it is. And this is obviously your content. What I'm going to do is, if we think about this, I want to see the title and a background image when we're not hovering over it. And I want to actually see the content and the call to action button when we are hovering over it and have no title. So to achieve this, up in the title here, if we roll over, and this is common to most Divi modules right here. If you roll over the dark writing, some icons will pop up. It's got an arrow. It'll let you set a hover state and a regular state. Regular desktop state is when your mouse is not on it. Obviously hover is when your mouse is on it. So we've got this for our title, and if we go to the hover state, I'm just going to put a blank in there, just a space. So we've got this here, and we just got a space when we hover, which is empty basically. Great, so we got that. Now with our button, I'm going to do a similar thing. I'm going to roll over it till we got the hover and regular state. Desktop, I don't want to see it at all. So I'm going to cut that, Control X. Hover, I want it to say click here. And you may have noticed there's no actual button down there at the moment. Button doesn't appear until we actually put a link in for it. So if I close up the text, put the link, open up the link down below. Here's the button link. I'm just going to put a hashtag where you put your URL. As you can see, it's popped that button in there. So now if I go back to our text, here's the button, desktop state, no button because we've got no text, hover state, button's going to appear. Great. So we're on our way. So just down below the button, remember we're back in the content in the text settings now, in the text. We're going to do exactly the same thing. I don't want quite as much content as this. I'm going to cut mine down to about this much. Obviously you're going to have different amounts of content in each one, but we're going to give this a fixed height so that won't matter. So yeah, I'm going to keep about that much content, but I don't want it to be on the non-hover setting. What I'm going to do is cut it, Control X to cut, and I'm going to flip over to the hover state, paste it in there. So now we've got our button and our text in the hover state, and just the title in the regular state. Okay, well, we're good in our little text section here. Everything should be doing what we want to, flipping on and off in the various hover states. We've done our link. Like I say, that's your button link. If you want the whole module to link somewhere, you can put a separate link in here, or the same link if you want to. And as always, but common best practice, if you're linking to your own site, leave it in the same window. If you're linking off-site, put it in a new tab so your site stays open. Okay, let's roll on down to background here. Now I want to see an image first thing. So at the moment it's got a default blue in there. Doesn't matter if it's there or not. I'm going to go over to image. We've got color, gradient, image or video. And we'll pop in a background image. Let's pop in that colourful one there. There we go. As you can see, that image is in there now. Okay, and to make that just a little bit more readable, I'm going to blend it with my background color here. So let's choose a black, I think. Go back to the image, roll down. We've got image blends here. So I'll try multiply. And all we can see now is the black. If we go back to the color and pull the opacity down by clicking on the color, right hand slider, till we can see enough of the image but still read that title nicely. And that's up to you entirely. Obviously you can change your text color if you prefer to do that so it stands out better, but with a multicolored image like that, it's quite often the best way to put a pale black over there. Okay, so we got that. Then again, what do we want to see when we hover over it? Well, I want to see a colored background, or we could see that image with more of a background color on it. So again, I'm going to hover over the dark writing, hit the arrow. Desktop state, I'm happy with the way that is. Hover state, I'm going to flip the color. Let's have a different color in the background here. And I'm going to make it pretty much exactly how it is there. Everything's standing out fine, so I'm not going to change anything right there at all. So we've got this when we're not hovering and this when we are hovering. Now if you don't want the image in there at all, just go in there and delete the image. Just make sure it's still there when you go into the desktop mode, and you can have two completely different images if you prefer to do it that way. Alright, well I'm happy with all of that. Now I need to make it the size that I want it. To do that, let's go to our design and we'll go down to sizing. And again, here's our width and height. You can either give it a minimum height or a height. I'm going to go for height because what I'm going to do is turn this into a circle when we hover over it. So I want it to be the same height as it is width. So height wise, I'm going to make it 300 pixels. Just put in the 3, it'll put the pixels for you. And if you're using less columns than this, perhaps 2, and also depending on the amount of content you want to put in it, you need to change your height accordingly. That's fine. That looks like how I want to see it. Now when I hover over it, that can stay exactly the same, but width wise, I'm going to hit the little arrow on the width there. On hover, instead of auto, I'm going to have that at 300 pixels, so slightly less than the default there, but I'll just want to make sure it's aligned in the middle, and I want it to be a circle rather than a square. So I'm going to roll down to the border just below spacing there, and again roll up, get the little arrow for the hover and desktop. Desktop's fine. When I hover over it, I want it to be round, so I'm going to put 50% up in here. And there we've got a nice little circle. And remember, it's only a circle because it's as tall as it is wide. And if you've got that little chain linked, it'll do all 4 at once for you. So desktop, square, hover, circle. So we just need to align our content a bit now. So desktop, I'm happy where that title is. That's absolutely fine to me. I might bring that black down slightly. Title's still getting a little lost in there. And hover, we want to push that content down too. So again, in design, I'm going to close up the border and go into spacing. Now on hover, I'm going to go into padding, get my little arrow up. On hover, we want to push that all down. Give it 100 pixels, see what happens. A little too far. Say 80 pixels. Great. That works fine for me. If you want to move the button itself, you need to do that with button margin. And you can do that if we close this up. We go into button right here. Use custom styles of button. We roll on down. You'll find button margin and button padding. Padding will make it fatter and wider inside the line. margin will push it up and down. For instance, if I give it 20 on top, pushes that button down. I'm actually happy with the where it is, but you can position it like this because it will stay there because we've given it a fixed height. I'm going to leave that just like it is. And alternatively, if we get back out of here again, go into our spacing, if we go back to the desktop state, if you wanted your title at the bottom of your image, you could give it, say, we'll try 200. Not quite enough, 250. And you can put it down there. Because we've given it a fixed height, that's going to work fine. But I'm happy with mine to be at the top. That's just another option for you. I just wanted to take that background opacity up a little bit more. There we go, that's fine, just like that. Okay, and the last thing we need to do now is decide how long we actually want to take to do this. By default it's 300 milliseconds. I like to slow it down for a little bit of drama. So I'm going to go to the Advanced tab, down to Transitions. I'm going to take it up from the default 300 right there to about half a second or so. And I like to use the ease in and ease out, that way it sort of eases back into how it was when you leave it with your mouse. So let's save our changes and see how this is going to be on the front end. Save draft or publish if you're ready. And let's exit the Visual Builder. And let's go down where we were working. There it is. And there we go. When we roll over it, it goes from image with title to some info with the call to action button right there. And it takes half a second to do that. When you get off of it, it rolls back out to how it was. Like I say, nice little effect to have on your site there. If people are mousing around and you get that happening, it's going to get their attention pretty quickly. So I hope you've enjoyed this today and found it useful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, ring the bell, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Once again, this has been Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.